are a lot of people here today. Now, a couple of years ago, I would have been terrified looking out at the audience. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still a little bit nervous. I do a much better job pretending to be confident. So, part of what makes me so afraid was the resistance I feel by being an introvert. As most of us know, introverts are people who prefer calm, minimally stimulating environments. Introverts gain energy by spending time by themselves and get drained by spending long amount of times with a bunch of different people. I've known I've been an introvert ever since in grade school, and I prefer to work in groups rather than work by myself rather than work in groups, to when I prefer a night by myself rather than going out. However, instead of understanding the terminology and highlights of being an introvert, being an introvert makes it very hard for me to public speak, but I got this. However, instead of understanding the terminology of being an introvert and highlighting on skills, such as being a good listener and introspective, I always envisioned leaders as the people with ambition, a powerful voice, and an engaging presence. Susan Cain has conducted research that shows that people view leaders as people with self-confidence, charisma, and drive. However, people view extroverts as people who are open, free, and approachable. There is an extremely high correlation between how we view extroverts and what we view leaders. According to the Wall Street Journal, nearly 65% of senior executives view introversion as a barrier to leadership, and only 6% think introverts have what it takes to lead a successful campaign. As seen in this graph, only 2% of top executives show signs of low extroversion. Despite my desires to go on stage, share my opinions with others, and stand up for what I believe in, because of the fact that I'm reserved, soft-spoken, and, well, an introvert, I believe that I did not have what it takes to make a difference. However, my views changed upon reaching the Girl Up Leadership Summit. Girl Up is a By Girls for Girls campaign run by the United Nations Foundations that focuses on leadership, that focuses on empowering girls around the world. After hearing stories of girls who face barriers to getting an education, such as poverty, violence, and cultural biases that prefer boys to girls, I knew that I had to make a difference, only I didn't know how. On the third day of the Leadership Summit was Lobby Day. Despite not knowing what lobbying meant, I had little idea what I was up for. My group of Midwest representatives arrived at the Capitol wearing our bright pink Girl Up shirts. Our mentor told us that we would be speaking to our elected officials about why we believe refugee girls in Uganda deserve a quality education. My stomach dropped at the word speaking. Memories flooded my head from when I blamed on my well-planned argument of why cookie dough is the superior ice cream flavor during my mock trial tryouts. As a soft-spoken person, I was accustomed to being drowned out by the louder person in the room. I had convinced myself that what I had to say wasn't important and that public speaking was simply not for me. I nervously took a seat at the desk of the congressman from Ohio, staring at my feet dangling at the ground, wondering how I could convince him about this issue. As he shook my hand, I was surprised to hear the confidence in my voice as I introduced myself. Ready to explain logistics of the bill, I was taken aback when he instead inquired, "Why did you get involved with Girl Up?" This question changed the topic from facts to my personal experience and connections. He was curious to know what drove us to be here today. I advocating because I believe girls deserve a quality education. Once I started speaking of the girls, the words flow out naturally. I spoke of Sarah, who had to leave school due to the war and take on new responsibilities. I reiterated that by having an education, she can gain full independence of her life and give back to the resiliency of her community. Through 10 meetings that day, my passion for the cause propelled me to confidently use my voice. I noticed myself standing up straighter, speaking more slowly, and looking people in the eye. I felt myself listening and connecting with my audience, transforming into the activist I never knew I could be. I learned I didn't have to increase the volume of my voice or my personality to become a change maker. Using my strengths as a quiet leader and active listener, I connected with the elected officials to help them understand the cause and want to take action. By believing in the mission, I was able to put my fear of public speaking in the rearview mirror. I learned the importance of sharing stories and why issues matter to us to connect with who I am speaking with. As a teen advisor for Girl Up over the past 2 years, I had the chance to go back and guide the new members. I was able to help girls like me overcome their hesitation, empowering them to share the stories that drove them to be here. Together, we are ready to use our voice and engender girls' rights. I became aware of the unique powers I carried as an introvert, such as traits of introspection, patience, and focus on making meaningful connections. I learned I didn't have to be the most confident speaker or outgoing presence, but by being propelled by a mission I believe in and realizing my own qualities as a leader, I found my voice. Soon, I found myself gravitated towards issues of civil liberties and social engagement. Whether I was participating in discussions on prison reform, or rallying for immigrant rights on Capitol Hill, or helping organize our school walkout for gun violence safety, I felt a rush of energy each time my shy self was able to use my voice to make an impact in the world, no matter how big or small. So despite our reputation to be self-focused, Gen Z decided to be one of the most civically engaged age cohorts. Whether it's organizing school events, marches, or campaigning for candidates we believe in, our generation is taking action. Now more than ever, we must use our voice to fight for what we believe in. I encourage you to use your voice. Share what matters to you, and find your own unique strengths as a leader. For the next time anyone tells you you're too young, too quiet, or not important enough to make a difference, just know that everyone has a story to tell, a mission to put themselves behind, and the power to create change. Find your passion, believe in what you bring to the table, and most importantly, at the sake of sounding too cheesy, don't be afraid to be yourself. As 13th century poet Rumi said, let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. Thank you.